Hey everyone, Merrill here. I'm with Craig, our head project manager, and we're going to do a short walkthrough of how to estimate repairs on a house. This is a property that we just closed on, and we're going to just walk through some of the different categories and what Craig looks for when he's estimating repairs on a walkthrough. So this is something that we do before we go to contract on a house. Before we make our offer, we will do a walkthrough and then we will submit our offer. Then once we're under contract, we'll come back to the house and do a detailed scope of work. But Craig, just on a repair estimate walkthrough, why don't you go through a few of the major categories from the outside in?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So when I get to a property, the first thing I'm looking at are some of the general conditions. For example, permitting. On this house, we're gonna go ahead and budget the $3,000 for the permits. I'm also gonna look at demo and dumpsters. So for this project, it's a pretty basic project. I'm gonna go ahead and budget $500 for the 30-yard dumpster rental, plus an additional $500 for the labor, which is basically to fill up, do the demo work and fill up the dumpster. From there, I'm gonna go ahead and look at the roof. And you can see that we can see the roof pretty clearly. I'm gonna look for a couple things. I'm gonna look for any wear and tear that's visible from just standing on the street looking at it. I'm gonna look at the edge of the roof to see how many layers are on the roof. I'm gonna look to see if there's metal edging around the roof or a drip edge, which helps protect the fascia. And I'm just gonna walk around the property and look at the roof and try and see as much of the roof as I possibly can. And then go ahead, for this house, the roof's in good condition, but I'm gonna do a heavy patch or a hard patch on this, which is $900 on the repair sheet.
And on the back, that's where you're gonna be doing the patchwork, is on the back of this particular roof.
Correct, yeah. So there's a solar water heater system on the back. It's got a bunch of tubes, a lot of screws and stuff going into the roof. So that's where the bulk of the work is gonna be on this house.
Yeah, but you can see from the overall condition, it's in pretty good condition, but you have to check all areas as well. Let's go take a look at the landscaping section of the repair estimate sheet next. So the next thing we always look for, since we're standing outside the house, naturally, is the landscaping. So for this section, Craig, why don't you talk them through what you look through?
Yeah, so basically what we want is good curb appeal. So we always like to have some nice grass out in the front, some colorful flowers. We want a sprinkler system. This house actually, as you can see, has a pretty decent yard. We're not gonna have to come in and renovate it or rip out the grass, put new grass in. We're gonna go ahead and clean up the flowers, maybe get some more colorful flowers around the perimeter of the house. The main objective is just to do about a $500 yard cleanup and then keep it alive.
The other thing to just make note of, one of the things that Craig, how he estimates repairs, is he'll look at first just the lot size. This is a pretty small lot, very typical for this neighborhood. So the landscaping budget will really depend on, okay, are you just cleaning it up, or are you actually going to install grass? Are you going to come in and add mulch? So a lot of times we base it on the size of the lot, a small lot, a medium-sized lot, or a larger lot. And obviously it can get much more expensive the more landscaping you do and the bigger the lot. But for this house, it's very, very simple. Just the bare essential minimum, so it's clean. It shows nice, and we always try to make it look a little nicer than the neighboring houses next to it. That's kind of a gauge as well. So let's move on to the next section, which would be exterior and interior paint. Since we're on the outside, why don't you talk them through the exterior paint first, and then we'll go through the interior paint.
Yeah, it's pretty basic. We're always going to paint the house. 99.9% of the time, we're gonna give a fresh coat of paint for the interior and exterior. And what I'm basically looking for, is really kind of any kind of wood damage that my painter's gonna have to repair before he goes and starts painting it. But for this house, it's pretty basic. A 2-color paint job. We're gonna do the eaves and the fascia board, our trim color, and then the body of the house gets a secondary color. So we're running about $1 a square foot for the exterior for painting. So that's pretty simple. 1,500 square feet house times $1 is about $1,500 for the exterior painting. On the interior, we do the same thing. We're gonna go ahead and put a fresh coat of paint on the property. You're getting 2 colors again, so you're gonna have your ceiling color and your body color. All the trim, the baseboards, the doors, the door casing, all of that is the same color as the ceiling, just a little bit different finish or sheen. And we're still at about $1 a square foot as well. So 1,500 square foot house times $1 for interior paint is $1,500. So for this house, to paint the interior and the exterior, you're looking at a total of $3,000.
And one thing, some of the things that you'll notice with our pricing is we get wholesale pricing. So if you've ever rehabbed a home, a lot of people that approach us say, man, you guys get projects done very inexpensively. It's because we use the same contractors over and over and over again. So $1 square foot's a pretty good price to paint the exterior and the interior for $3,000 total. It's a pretty good price. Let's actually go walk inside and take a look at the interior paint, and Craig will describe what we do with our paint color choices when we walk in the main front room next. So come on, let's go take a look. So generally what Craig will do is walk from the outside to the inside. Since he's already working on the paint estimate for the exterior, he'll walk the entire property, and then he'll come inside and finish his paint quote. So why don't you talk everyone through just what type of paint colors we choose,
Sure.
and so on and so forth.
Sure, yeah. So when renovating a house, the one thing that you always want to keep in mind is 9 out of 10 people that walk through this house have to fall in love with it. So I'm not going to paint this house a mint green because it's my favorite color. I'm looking for neutral colors that appeal to a wide variety of people that are walking through here, and they can see their own furniture and their own decorations in this house. So typically we like to use the Navajo white. All of our paint is based off of Sherwin-Williams paint codes. So we're going to use the Navajo white for the body, which when we're talking about the body, this is the body, right? So all the walls is going to get the Navajo white. The trim and the ceiling is going to get basically an extra white, so it's a nice, sharp, crisp white. So we're going to paint, you know, the trim around the doors, the trim around the windows, the baseboards that we're going to put in. We're going to do all of that stuff in the extra white. And it's a nice, clean, very presentable paint scheme, and it goes with a lot of different colors. So if people like red and they got a lot of red knickknacks, this works with that. If they like blue, it works with that as well.
And one thing to notice is we don't go room by room for paint, although we will have different paint that we use in the bathroom and different paint we use in the kitchen than what he's describing. But when we just do the estimate, we're going to estimate the entire exterior and the entire interior based on square footage. Because remember, we do a lot of these estimates, and our goal is, you know, Craig will walk through this house in about 15 minutes to put this entire estimate together. Obviously, if it was a bigger house, he might take a little bit longer. If it was a small condo, it could take him 5-10 minutes to walk through and do the estimate. So single family house like this that doesn't need a ton of work, it's not going to take him a ton of time to walk through. And then he'll get much more detailed when he goes through the scope of work once we go to contract. Then when we create the room by room scope of work, that's where he's going to start selecting materials, start putting in paint code, colors room by room, what he wants. Why don't you just describe really quickly the difference between the type of paint that you might use in the kitchen versus in the bathrooms versus
Sure.
the main living area?
Absolutely. And so the kitchen and bathrooms, they're wet areas, right? So you're going to have a lot of water in the bathrooms. You're going to have steam and stuff like that. So we do a semi-gloss paint. So it's the same color. It's the same, almost the same can of paint. It's just a different sheen. So the walls typically get an eggshell. The ceiling gets flat, which is going to be your cheapest paint. The flat and eggshell typically will show fingerprints and dirt. So that's why we put the flat on the ceiling, because no one's going to touch that. And in the kitchen and the bathrooms, you're going to have a lot of dirt in there, a lot of smudges on the walls, handprints. So you put a semi-gloss in there. That way you don't see any of the handprints or any of the dirt smudges, and you can wipe the walls clean if something splashes on them.
So in order to finish the paint quote, what Craig will do is do the exterior front, walk through, do the interior, and then just make sure there's nothing abnormal on the house for the exterior back paint quote. On this house, everything's pretty set. When he's in the backyard, though, he will move to the next section, which is concrete and flat work. And there is some work to be done here. So I'm going to let Craig describe, when he walked through this house for the first time, what he saw and then how he estimates it and what he's looking for. So take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing that we have going on at this house is a lot of the concrete work is sloping towards the house. And it's never a good idea to have water being directed to the house. You always want to pull water away from the house. So if you pan down and look, you can see that we do have puddling areas that need to be addressed in flat work. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to cut out some of the flat work here and re-pour it so that we can slope it away from the house, and then put in what's called a swale, which is basically a channel that draws water away from the house and then out to the side and then down to the street. So really with flat work, you know, a patio, something like that, is about $7 a square foot for demo and then re-pouring it. So for here, I just calculated that I might have about 200 square feet of flat work that I need to work on. I times that by the $7 in the concrete flatwork section.
So the next section that Craig and we'll always look for is miscellaneous exterior, and this includes quite a few different items, and then a lot of times Craig will add an item to the list if we encounter something unique at a house. But generally what we're looking for is does the house have a pool or not, and what are we doing with the pool? And pools can be tricky because they can add value to some houses. They can also detract from the value of some houses depending on the layout of the lot and where the pool is. And pools can also be very costly to fix as well. We also look if it is a septic. This isn't, you know, this house we don't have to worry about that. We'll also look at the fence. We'll also factor in small things like a new mailbox or new house numbers. I mean, those are small items. But on this particular house, the fence, it's not in the greatest of shape, but it's not in bad shape. So this is something that we would choose just based on the value of the neighborhoods to not fix. We would straighten the fence up, maybe do a little bit of work, but we're not going to replace the entire fence because it just doesn't make sense financially in this value of neighborhood. Other houses that Craig would replace the fence. It just depends on the type of house and the neighborhood. But this house is interesting because it has a pool, and the pool takes up the majority of the backyard. So why don't you talk about the decision that you're currently making right now and that we're currently making with this particular pool?
Sure, and as Than said, pools can be very tricky, and one thing that you want to do when you're looking at a pool is you really want to walk around the entire pool and inspect it. What I'm looking for are imperfections in the plaster. Any kind of rust stains or anything like that, that's an indication that I need to replaster the pool. So I walked around this pool and you can see in certain areas that the plaster is starting to crumble away. So I automatically budgeted $5,000 to replaster this pool. Now that we're in the process of buying this house, we're going to have a pool contractor come out and give us a quote to replaster the pool. But because it takes up so much of the backyard, we're also going to get a quote to demo the pool. And demoing a pool is a process, and you have to have a permit on it, and there's a proper way to demo a pool. So it's not, you don't just throw dirt in it and say it's gone. So we're going to have a number to replaster and fix the pool, and then also to demo the pool. And then at that point in time, when we have the numbers, we'll make the best financial decision for this property.
What did you budget for this pool? And maybe just get a quick.
So this pool isn't a huge pool, but it's a good sized pool, and it's got a special kind of custom coating on it, which is more expensive than a normal plastered pool. I went ahead and budgeted $5,000 for this. It's my standard number. If the pool was a lot larger, then you would maybe make an adjustment. But for the most part, your standard pool, standard depth pool, you can be safe with about a $5,000 number. A couple other things to look at is the coping tiles, which is the tiles around the pool, and then you always want to get a good shot and take a picture of it too when you're here of the pool equipment, because pool equipment could be an added cost as well. So I'm always walking the pool, I'm looking at the coping tile, I'm looking at the plaster, and then I'm going to go and I'm going to find the equipment, I'm going to take a look at the equipment. Hopefully it's running. If it's running, that's good. If not, then I might throw some dollars there to repair the pool equipment.
The final thing that Craig will look at is he'll look at the deck on the exterior and the exterior garage door. On this particular house, it doesn't need a new exterior garage door, so we don't have a budget. There is no deck, so there's not any budget for that as well. What we're going to do is we're going to move inside now and do a walkthrough on the inside of the house and what we budgeted for this particular repair estimate on the initial walkthrough. So come on, let's take a look inside. All right, so once we're inside the house, the first thing that we look at is framing and drywall and whether we're going to do any layout changes. And in a lot of older homes like this one, the kitchen will be boxed in and basically cutting up the living room. And what we like to do on almost any house we can is open up the kitchen into the living room to create a great room. And it's one of the easiest things to do, and actually one of the least expensive things to do, that greatly enhances the value of a home. In fact, a dollar spent here returns a lot when the house is sold. So this house, it doesn't have a big living room, and right here, this is the kitchen, which is a galley kitchen, a very small kitchen, almost like a hallway when you're walking through it. So we're going to open up this wall, and Craig's going to talk about the pricing and what we look for. And then we're going to walk the rest of the house, the bedrooms and bathrooms, and we'll look for what does the sheetrock look like? Does it need are there holes in the wall, or is it in good condition? Is there paneling? Is there mirrors? So why don't you talk them through what you are going to do here, and then what you budgeted for the other areas of the home when it comes to sheetrock.
Absolutely. As Stan was saying, one of the best things you can do is combine your kitchen and living room to create a great room. And you know, when you walk into this house, once we open up this wall, you'll be able to see the beautiful kitchen. It's going to have that wow factor, right? When they walk in, they're going to be sold. So what I always try and do is figure out how I can create an open kitchen and open concept layout. And under the framing section, you have a line item that says remove load-bearing walls, and that's $1,500 to do that work. What that's going to get you is a header beam across the top to support the structure and a post on each side of that beam, and then the wall is gone. And now you've got this great open concept, eat-in kitchen, breakfast bar, living room, all kind of combined into one area that's really going to pop and help sell the house.
Let's talk about the paneling.
Sure.
Paneling, the mirror, and then some of the other work that we might need to do. And why don't you walk through what we do in this scenario?
Absolutely. So a lot of times when I'll walk into an older home, I'm going to see wood paneling up. And I always assume that there's no drywall back there. In this house, we were able to actually kind of peel back some of the paneling and see that there was drywall. But I'm always going to assume that there's no drywall, or that there's at bare minimum severe drywall patching that's going to be needed. Same with the mirror that we have over here. I'm also going to walk around the house and see if there's any other damage, any other patching that goes that's going to need to be done. This house is pretty clean with the drywall. No one put holes in the wall. So I'm going to do my basic line item drywall patch, which is about $500. That's going to take care of having to put any drywall or patching behind here. What that also is going to do is cover the drywall repair in the kitchen, because I'm always going to pull out the drywall behind the sink and replace it with waterproofing drywall. Same thing in the bathroom. So that will help all the drywall throughout the house. So for this house, about $500.
The next area we're going to talk about is flooring, and different types of flooring, from carpet to hardwood to tile. So let's go take a look at a different area of the house, and then Craig will walk us through how we budget for the different types of flooring. All right, so let's talk about flooring. Now, I want to preface this. When we do a repair estimate, we're not walking through the house with a tape measure. So we're going to do because remember, at this point, when we're doing our repair estimates, we don't even have the house under contract. This is to help us formulate our offer. So what we will do is typically look at the main room, the bedrooms, determine what type of flooring we're doing. And so for this house, what we're going to do is we're going to do engineered hardwood throughout this living room. So we'll take this carpet up, we'll carry it through the kitchen, into the hallways, and then we'll carpet the bedrooms. That's typically what we do. And then obviously in the bathrooms, we're going to do tile. So why don't you walk through, just talk about when we're doing a repair estimate, not a scope of work later on, how you determine your numbers for a house like this.
Sure, absolutely. So like Dan was saying, I'm always going to put carpet in the bedrooms. So what I basically do is a standard house like this, your average bedroom's 10 by 12. And so I take that square footage, that's 120 square feet. We times that by 3 bedrooms, so we know we have 360 square feet that we're going to be putting carpet in for our bedrooms. On the line item pricing, we go $1.35 a square foot. So I would just take that 360, times it by $1.35, and that's going to get me my carpet number. I'm then going to subtract that 360 square feet out of the total square footage of the house, minus the bathrooms as well. So our basic bathrooms here, we have 2 bathrooms, totaling roughly about 100 square feet of tile. So I'm going to take 360 minus 100, and I'm going to subtract that out of the total square footage, which is 1,500 square feet. That gives me my basic, my leftover number for engineered hardwood flooring. And that's going to be about $6 a square foot for engineered hardwood flooring. We also have a line item for laminate. So I determine the floor product by the comps and the ARV. In this house, it's a little bit higher end house. We're going to need engineered hardwood floor. That's the $6 number. A lower ARV house, I might be able to get away with laminate. I would times that leftover square footage by 4 and get my laminate number.
Cool. Let's take a look at the next section. All right, so we're in the kitchen, one of the most important areas of the house, and as you can see, kitchen's pretty tight. But we're going to be once again opening up this wall so it flows into the living room. Now, when we do a repair estimate, we don't price out every single cabinet, every single individual appliance, every single fixture. What we do is we group our kitchens into 3 different categories. We have a high end, a median, and a lower end number for the repair estimate. Because remember, once again, when we do a repair estimate, we don't have the house under contract yet. So we're not going to go to the level of detail of every line item. So we break it up into 2 sections really. Low end, median, high end, or that's the first section. And the second section is appliances. And so we have different appliance grades. So why don't you talk about the price that we came up with when we did the repair estimate on this house for this kitchen?
Sure, yeah. So basically with kitchens, it's pretty easy. If they've never been updated, it's going to be completely updated. If you've come into the kitchen and it's been updated, I'm going to look at the cabinet, see what kind of condition they're in. I'm always going to look under the sink because that's the cabinet that gets the most wear and tear. And so that will determine if I can keep the cabinets or not. But in this kitchen, it's a full gut. The ARV is how I determine the pricing for the kitchen. And this one's probably at the top end of my lower kitchen budget. If it was another $50,000 more, I probably would bump it to the mid-range section. But in here, the cabinets, countertop, and backsplash, for this kitchen, I'm going to go ahead and budget my standard $6,000.
What about the appliances and appliances?
The appliances, I'm going to go ahead and budget my $4,500 appliance package in here for a couple different reasons. One, we're going to be opening up this wall, so I need a different kind of stove, a little bit higher end stove that will make it look a little bit better. And 2, to reduce the feeling of being on top of each other, I'm going to put a countertop depth fridge in here. So those 2 things automatically are going to push me to my $4,500 appliance package.
So total cost of the kitchen that would be in the repair estimate is $11,000. That would be appliances and that would be everything. Countertops, cabinets, everything that's in this kitchen is going to fall in that number for our kitchen estimate. Cool, let's go take a look at the next area of the house.
Perfect.
All right, so we're in the bathroom here, and Craig and I, you can see it's a little bit of a tight fit. The 2 bathrooms in this house are almost identical. In fact, the other bathroom is right on the other side of this wall, and they share the plumbing here. So what we do for bathrooms is we take a look, is it a master bath, is it a full bath, or is it a half bath? And then we also have a separate line item for plumbing, because we factor plumbing for just a remodeled house based on wet locations, which this would be one wet location, the kitchen would be another wet location, and the other bath on the other side of this wall would be a wet location, which we'll talk about next when we talk about plumbing. So for a bath like this, we're going to completely gut this bathroom. Why don't you tell them what we do here, what you look for, and then just the general price for this one bath.
Sure. Basically, the bathroom is going to be very similar to a kitchen. If it's never been updated, you walk into this bathroom, it's original 1950s, 1960s. It's going to be a full gut. So we're going to have new countertop, new vanity, new shower surround. We're going to do our custom tile work in our showers. We're going to have new tubs. Everything's going to go new. We're going to have a new mirror, new bathroom accessories. So for the standard bathroom in this price range and this size of a bathroom, I'm going to go ahead and budget $3,500. And then the master bathroom, the other bathroom, it's the same size. So I'm going to go ahead and budget another $3,500 for that. So for the 2 bathrooms, we're at $7,000.
And then what we'll do for plumbing, because obviously there's plumbing involved with this, is we just walk through and we do wet locations of $1,500 per wet location. So there's 3 wet locations. There's the kitchen there. There's a kitchen here. So for our plumbing breakout, if the house doesn't need to be completely redone, and we're just coming in here and gutting bathrooms and gutting kitchens, then we're going to do $1,500 for the kitchen, $1,500 for this bathroom, $1,500 for that bathroom, right? And remember, this is just a repair estimate. This is what Craig's walking through the house in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes max to get a repair estimate for the entire house. So that's why we break it up that way, just so we're efficient. We won't go down to the line item in a bathroom on a repair estimate. So it's a tight fit in here. Let's get out of the bathroom and go to the next section.
Perfect.
So the next thing on our repair estimate is HVAC. So we're going to take a look at that. This particular house doesn't have AC, and you don't really need AC in San Diego. That's something that's going to be very different based on the area of the country that you live in. Higher end homes, we will choose to install AC, but on a house like this, if it doesn't have it, we're not going to do anything with that. It already has the ductwork in. So why don't you talk about what you look for, and I'll step out of your way.
Sure, yeah. So the FAU, the heating system here, it's a forced air unit. This is the original system to the house. As I walk through the property, I'm going to try and find this location so that I can look at it. I'm going to photograph it for our records. I'm also going to look to see if there's any ductwork. And it's old, it's dated. But I'm going to go ahead and budget based on looking at this machine that I'll be able to actually keep it and that it'll work. So I'm going to do my standard $500 service budget, and what that's going to do is they're going to come in, they're going to clean out all the ductwork, they're going to reattach the exhaust vent, they're going to change out the gas line that feeds it, they're going to do a new air filter, they're going to clean out this whole closet, they're going to clean up the whole unit, make it look good, test it, and make sure that everything's operational.
So the next section that you're going to look at when you're doing your repair estimate is the electrical panel and the electrical within the house. So Craig, why don't you walk them through what we look for and then how we break it down on just a repair estimate sheet.
Sure, yeah. So the first thing that we're going to look for is any damage that's noticeable, where people have come in and vandalized the house and ripped out the copper. This house doesn't have that. All the electrical systems seem to be working properly. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to have my standard $3,000 electrical budget, and what that covers is going to be all of my rough material, because the bathrooms and the kitchens and all the areas that we touch we're going to have to bring to today's codes with GFCIs and new circuits. So that $3,000 is going to cover that, as well as all my new fixtures, so the can lights that we're going to put in the kitchen, the new light fixtures throughout the house. And then the other thing I'm going to look at is the panel. So a couple things I'm looking at the panel. I want to make sure, one, that we have a dead panel, which protects the wiring behind the breakers. And the other thing I'm going to look at is the main. And I'm always going to want to find, what I'm looking for is a bare minimum of 100 amps. If this was a 100 amp panel, then I could leave it. Anything less than 100 amps is going to need to be upgraded. And so when I do an upgrade, I'm going to upgrade it to 200 amps. So this panel has a double 40 breaker. You don't add them together. 40 plus 40 is not 80 in this situation. This is a 40 amp panel. And so we're going to have to go ahead and upgrade the panel for the line item pricing is $2,000. So for this house, I have a total electrical budget of $5,000.
So one of the final sections in the repair estimate is doors and trim, and that would include closet doors, that would include bedroom doors, hardware, casing around the door, and of course the trim. So one of the things we'll do when we're walking through a house, if we're going to replace all the doors, we have a flat fee for a 1,500 square foot house and a 3,000 square foot house. Because remember, we're trying to do this repair estimate in 15, 20 minutes just to make sure that we have a somewhat accurate repair cost so we can put the offer in. When we come back for a scope of work, we'll actually look at, are we going to replace every single door? Is there any doors that we could save, or closet doors that we could save? And so Craig will always make those decisions so we can save money. But why don't you talk about on this house what we budgeted?
Yeah, so for this house, it's a 1,500 square foot house. We're going to go ahead and change all of the interior doors and hardware and baseboards with this house. So this is pretty basic. It's our standard $2,000. That's going to get me all new doors. We always have our closet doors be the same doors as our bedroom doors, our interior doors. We're going to have new 3-inch baseboard, new door casings around, and then all new brushed nickel hardware.
So it's a $2,000 flat fee when we're walking through and doing a repair estimate on a house that's 1,500 square feet. Pretty simple. Now the final area is furnishings, or what we call staging. When we're done with the house, we always put it into our budget. For a house like this, it's pretty simple. It's going to be a $2,000 flat fee to stage the house, and that's huge when you're selling houses. It makes the house go so much faster. The only other areas that either I or Craig didn't talk about were siding. On this house, we're just going to paint the exterior, so there was no siding work to be done, and there was no structural work to be done on this house as well either. So other than that, that's the complete walkthrough of what we would do on a repair estimate when we're walking through the house for the first time to help us formulate an offer. Hopefully you got a lot of value out of it. And once again, thank you, Craig, for
no problem.
walking us through. Take care.